Hi guys, it's Dave here from Black Anchor Outdoors. Got a quick review for you today on the Silky Gomboy curve. Alright, hang with us. Alright, so we've got the this is a new model for Silky Australia. I'm not sure overseas whether it's new or not. For us over here it is. So the Silky Gomboy curve. Now I got this from the guys at Arbor Lab. Now they're really helpful up there. So if you are going to get your Silkies, go up there, and they're in Brisbane, obviously online. Everything is these days. Super helpful, get the stuff straight out, make sure everything's alright, that kind of service, which is perfect. Right, so there's this Gomboy curve. So I've got a bit of wood shavings on. I've actually only cut one branch with this, and I tried to save it for the review, but I was a bit too excited. So I actually entered a competition and won this from those guys up there, but I have bought from them before. So I do have a few Silkies now, and I have to say they are my favourite folding saw and that kind of thing. Super sharp teeth, sharper than most knives that come out from factories and that kind of thing. Definitely sharper than axes. Now this is the 210. So I have a few different sizes. I have even right up to the Katana Boy, which is basically like a human chainsaw. But what I did want, I also have the Barco Laplander. Now it's a bit of a tried and tested favourite. The thing with the Barco Laplander is the teeth, they're not super sharp, so if you're doing lots of work, they're not perfect for it. Doing smaller amounts of work, they're perfect. This is where I wanted this size Silky. So it's just a little bit longer than the Barco, I think, in blade length. Not too much though, it's very similar. Difference is we have larger teeth and they're just super sharp. Not saying the Barco isn't sharp. These just cut through like nothing else. Now this has the curved blade too. Now what's the use of a curved blade? Now when you are sawing, now not everyone does this, but your natural human movement moves up and down. It's actually very unnatural to pull straight back and forward. Now as I say, everyone is different. Some people will cut like that, but your general human movement and the way your ligaments and that kind of thing move, you will move up and down. So that's where this curve comes in. But it also makes it, when you're chopping down, sawing down low, that same kind of movement makes it a little bit easier to get through the wood. And then again at a height. So that's what that curve is for. Now do you have to have a curve? No, you will still chop it with a straight blade. It's like ergonomics on a knife. Now you have your Essies and their flat knives, not flat knives, real flat handles. Now Kane on this channel hates the flat handles. He loves a real ergonomic handle. I don't mind the flat handles. Same kind of thing with this. Some people will love the flat blade, some will love the curve. So that's the kind of difference. Now Silky, as every Silky as far as I know, only cuts on the pull cut. Now what that does is it saves your breaking blades. You will still break blades anything that's, you know, that's sawing through hardwood, or, you know, knives, everything, there's a ability for it to break. Now what this does with the pull cut, it just reduces that. So your force of that, you've got a brace in here and it's pulling towards you. You just seem to keep that blade a lot straighter on the pull cut than when you're pushing. So you've got no brace, so you've got a bendy blade, which they're meant to bend. That also saves breaking. Really stiff blades will break a lot easier. Now, as you go through, it's still going to cut a little bit, but it actually doesn't have the teeth angled that way to cut. But it'll mainly clear out that stuff. Now, people still do break things on the way through that way, but this is just going to save a little bit of that. It's also going to make it that little bit easier, because pulling towards your body and using your body weight is easier than pushing and putting your body weight into it. It's just the ergonomics again, you know, and the way bodies work. Just pulling on that saw blade is just a whole lot easier. Right now, Silky have a recommended oiling and cleaning kind of system. Now I'll put up on the screen, they do sell the products there. It is a good idea to get the products that suit the blade. Now anything's going to work, not anything, sorry, that's wrong. For my knives, I'll often just use WD-40, which is readily available here. I use the dry WD-40 as well. That comes off a lot quicker. Now these are a stainless blade, I'm pretty sure. I will put that up if it's any different. Stainless still means it stains. Still means you're going to get rust on it, that kind of thing. So to keep these in tip-top condition, you still do need to oil them and clean them. So I will put that info up. But we're going to get to some work. Now, same kind of thing as what applies to knives. Now this has its task, and its task isn't to take down trees. Its task is to, I've got the fire going here, so I've got a lot of grass on it just to make sure it's still going, and it's smoking up everywhere. But now I have my katana boy for if I do need to take stuff down. This is meant for either limbing, chopping up. I've got some stuff here just kind of that size. That's what it's meant for. It can do bigger tasks, it can do some smaller stuff. Now if you were to want to do some fine carving with this, I wouldn't suggest it. This is a chopper. This is for chopping up wood for fires, or taking down, you know, if you're using it for garden use. Perfect for, you know, your palm leaves or that kind of thing that aren't too high. This is perfect for that. But, you know, as I say, same as a knife, it's not going to do everything. But I'll do a few smaller tasks here and we'll see how it goes. Alright, so, you know, stuff like this, it's just that little bit big to bring on the knee and snap. I could probably do it. I'd end up damaging my knee. So stuff like this is perfect for what this blade is for. You could just chuck that on the fire like that as well. This one has been, you know, cut or whatever has happened to it. There's longer stuff there. But similar concept to doing feather sticks and that kind of thing. More surface area is going to burn. So if you put this in your fires this big, there's only that much of that stick burning. So you need 10 of these size sticks or bigger to keep feeding in your fire. You chop that down, you've got double the surface area then. So, you know, that's a pretty kind of general thing. We're not here for that kind of general info, but so that's cutting through so well. Alright, just had to get that fire stoked up again. Now that cut through that quite easy, and it was just an awkward kind of shaped branch. So, you know, working on a little stump or that kind of thing is going to be a whole lot easier. I'll saw it again. Alright, got a little bit bigger branch here. Alright. Now if you can see that, you know, that's just each pull cut on that, it's just pulling out so much. It's just the way they sharpen their teeth, the way they're angled, how deep they are, is just perfect for cutting. They're the best I've found in this kind of saw. They just really make light work of it all. Right, so I've got that from just a couple of embers, some pretty small kind of wood, you know, what, 4 chops, 5 chops. With this took me maybe 30 seconds and got quite a big fire now. So this is a bit of a first impressions video. And the other thing I like though with the Silky, now I've started to carry this a lot. As I said, I had the Laplander before this as a smaller saw. Now, one thing I love using these saws for, the back of the Silky is so sharp. I'm not talking cut yourself sharp, I'm talking using a ferro rod sharp. Now, this does come with a sheath, so I am going to build another sheath. The sheath is okay, I'll talk about that in a sec. But having your ferro rod on your saw on your belt as well, this kind of size, it doesn't weigh much at all. But look at the way this throws sparks. Perfect. It's just got such a sharp edge, and it's, you know, thinner than a knife, but anywhere on the blade it throws that spark. It's perfect. Now I've got to get onto this sheath. Alright, so with the sheath is not bad at all. On your belt it kind of does look like packaging. I'm not in love with the sheath, but now what I've been using this one for, the inside of my pack has some webbing and that kind of thing. I'll put that in the pack. So your saw goes in the center kind of pivot point down. This closes, and then that with friction locks in a belt loop. So having that on the belt is fine. Now it's pretty inconspicuous kind of sheath, you can't really see it, just looks like the saw's hanging there, so it's not too bad. But where I found this sheath perfect is the inside of that pack. So I'll lock it into that pack. It stays on that, perfectly on that spot I want it. When there's a thing there, friction locks that in. You know, I just push that in the pack, undo, saw comes out of the pack, goes back in. It's not just floating around in the bottom of the pack, just have to push that back in. Friction will hold that in again. Perfect. So I am going to build a Kydex sheath for this, but I will take both sheaths with me. So that'll stay in my pack, and I'm going to do a pretty kind of small sheath where it'll lock into my belt. So I'll try and make that not too big, so you know, if I'm going out to cut firewood, I don't want this on me the whole time. So I've got a knife hanging, I have a pack here that carries a few different bits, and also have a tinder pouch. But what I'll do is have that small sheath for this, going to do my camp tasks and that kind of thing. Perfect. Just bring it out, do my work. Alright, I want to get that out of the way now. That's where this comes in, I think. Just goes in that. You can see it in your pack, you can see exactly what it is. Whereas if that was a black sheath or that kind of thing, you know, you wouldn't see it as well. Depends on the inside of your pack. Some of them have that real bright inside so you can see the product. Mine's a Max Edition, so it's quite dark on the inside. But you have that bright handle in the clear package. I know exactly what that is. Open it up, take my saw out, put it on the belt. You know, that's just ideas. Alright, so as I say, just a first impressions. I've cut enough wood for this fire in about 30 seconds. This is just dead wood. This is perfect for it. I will do another video on this where it'll be more limbing and that kind of thing. But right, my likes and dislikes. As I say, it's not a dislike, but the sheath, you know, maybe it's just a bit daggy to have on the belt. Maybe that's all it is. But I think it's, as I said, perfect for in the pack. So I don't think it's a wasted thing at all. The saw itself is amazing. The lock system on that is not going to move. It's never going to break. We have a high tensile bolt through the center with, you know, massive diameter on the end of that. Looks like about an M4 bolt on the inside. Could be wrong, just a guess. But real big, thick top on it. The M4 is it's high tensile, so it's gonna hold that. No problems at all. Blade thickness, I think spot on. Now in Australia our blades are different to everywhere else because our wood is different to everywhere else. Now our blades angle this way, whereas I'm not sure, but I think everywhere else in the world they're just a straight blade, but don't quote me on that. But I know through speaking to the girls up there at Silky Arbor Lab that all the saws that come into this country have that angle. It's just because of that super dense hardwood. When you're doing those pull cuts, obviously, you know, you're putting pressure on the wood as well. It just closes in more than a softwood would. Alright, so we'll talk to lock. No. The lock on this is just super easy. Very simple, just locks in, just has a straight bar through here, locks into that little notch. Oh, it also has two settings you can use up like that. And it's just the actual casing that stops it going back. Then it'll lock in. It's that bar that'll stop it coming back. That bar's thick enough that I don't think you're ever going to have a problem with that. Yeah, it's probably a 2mm thick bar. Super easy to work. Goes back into its holder. Perfect. So it has a rubberized grip. Now some of these, it's like an overmold of a knife. Now your casing comes through to about here. So it's just enough for stability, and it's going to cut down that tiny bit on the weight as well. But this rubber that they use is quite dense, but it's super comfortable. And one thing I've found as a definite upside is because they haven't put the metal right the way through this. Now what it does, as you really bear down on that and grip, this part closes just slightly, just on the end. So basically what I think that does, it makes it like a knife handle, which saws often don't have. The Barco doesn't. It's quite, you know, it's an older design too, and it's quite beefy. This closes right down and is a super comfortable, something you can really bear down on, and then that gives you a swell there and a swell at the front where that's still metal. Now I think that's a massive upside to the lanyard hole for, you know, so you could actually just tie this to the belt as well quite easily. Alright, so for today, as our first impressions, that's a Silky Gomboy curve, the professional 210, so 210 being millimetre. Alright, so that's a big thumbs up for me. But thanks for watching. Make sure you click like, share and subscribe. We're pretty keen to get some likes on the video, get some more people seeing us. So head up to the guys at Arbor Lab, Silky Australia. Both of them addresses will get you to the right people. Tell them Black Anchor sent you, and get yourself one of the Silky saws. Alright, thanks guys, see you later.